Yo, this is Afro, a.k.a. All Flows Reach Out, and you're listening to Built for This Network. Yes, sir. From the building, stay bomb.
You're now listening to the End of the Bench podcast with host HRap.
It's Friday. Welcome back to another episode of Rapin with HRap. I have a special guest this evening, and another special guest this evening. One of my favorite NBA players, a good brother, Xavier McDaniel of NBA fame. Thank you for sharing your time with us, Xavier. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Nice to be here, man.
It's nice for you to be here. Thank you for sharing your time with us. As I start off every show, I always just say it's a conversation. It's not a traditional interview. We're gonna have a conversation about you, your life, and what's going on. Who is Xavier McDaniel?
Family man. I think that's one of the things that I pride myself on, is taking care of my family.
That's awesome.
Late, awesome. But a little wild side sometimes.
Hey, my man, and that's why we love you in the league.
But just someone, man, who just enjoy life, man. I'm just enjoying life right now. 59 years old. I just want to just watch and see each one of my kids live their dreams now, just like my father and mother did with me. I just want to see them live their dreams. My life is basically about them and my granddaughter.
Oh, man, congratulations on your children and especially your granddaughter. That's the extra bonus. That's the bonus.
Yes.
Grandfather, yeah. Well, you're from Columbia. From what I understand, you're from Columbia, South Carolina. As you say, you're 59 years old. Tell us about Columbia, South Carolina. I'm here in Chicago, Illinois. Right. Tell us about Columbia, South Carolina.
Columbia is a small town. It's not a hick town. I would say the city of Columbia has about 125 to 150,000 people in it. The metropolitan Columbia area, probably 250,000 to 300,000.
Okay.
Would be including like Kershaw County, Fairfield County, Lexington County, and Richland County, Orangeburg County.
Okay.
So I'm in Richland County, and I'm section of Columbia called Blackwood, South Carolina, which is in Richland County. And I love it here, man. Even when I left 40-something years ago to go to Kansas, I knew that South Carolina was always going to be my home. And the only other place that I think I could ever stay is Wichita, Kansas. I have a lot of love for Wichita. And but when your entire family, basically, immediate family is basically right here, it's kind of hard to go somewhere else.
I could definitely identify with that. Chicago is just one of the largest cities in America, but my entire family is here. You know,
Yeah.
my dad's family and my mother's family, they're right here on the west side of Chicago at that. I was born on the west side, raised on the north side, but yeah.
Yeah, I love Chicago, man. I remember years ago playing against the Bulls. And man, didn't I just see you on TV? And I looked at him and say, well, damn, ain't that was 3 hours ago? Some little, me and Oakley, we went to some little jazz spot. I'm not sure where it was at.
Cotton Club.
I'm not sure, but it's 92 little jazz spot right in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
And had a good time, man. I've always had a great time in Chicago. Know some people up there, and it's a great city.
Man, thank you. I've been to South Carolina myself. I enjoy it as well. And by me being a history guy, I love South Carolina.
Where at?
Huh?
Where at? In South
Spartanburg.
Spartanburg?
Yep.
Yeah. That's about 2 hours. Well, about an hour and a half from Columbia.
Okay.
Straight up Interstate 26.
Okay, good. Yeah, man. And it's, when you talk about family, you always, a lot of people run away from family. And I think that's one of the sad things about the world today. We don't gel as a community. And it starts right there with your family, the people, your mother, your father, your uncles, your aunts, cousins. All of that creates the greatest situation possible. And we always, I hate to get off you, but we always talk about what's wrong with the community. It starts with your family. It starts with what you did. You went back to create.
Yeah, I can attest to that because, guys like myself who made a lot of money, maybe not what the guys are making today, which is generation wealth is what I call it now. But you're talking about a 22-year-old making $750,000. You got everybody coming at you. And a lot of people don't want to be where they're from because they would have to deal with the day-to-day. Man, I deal with that, man. I love it. Man. I love it. If I can help people, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want to help people. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm running from people. I tell people all the time, I ain't got no bodyguard. I ain't never had one. I am the bodyguard. And that's what I told a guy. I was walking to the Beverly Hills Hotel, just parked the car, me and a friend, Andre Beauvais, and dude must have recognized me. Someone, Xavier McDaniel, why you ain't got no bodyguard? I said, I am the bodyguard.
Yeah, buddy.
Where I grew up at, and a lot of people in Columbia can tell you. A lot of people can tell you that I grew up in a tough neighborhood. And you had to be tough, man. And I just feel like when I go to other places, man, I'm just be who I am. And if you're who you are, people don't bother you. Okay, again, get out again. I told you one other time. Don't give it here. Give it here. Because I told you don't come in here. Now get out. Go, big head boy. That's my 5-year-old.
Yeah, it's all good, man. It's all good.
And they wasn't saying nothing until I got on the phone. They heard me talking. Then all of a sudden they gonna come in. Can I have this? Can I come in? But yeah, man, I'm not gonna. As you get older, you realize what you used to do. Because I tell people I was fearless one time. Now I don't be wanting to go no places. I just kind of laid back, relaxed now. But man, I remember them days in Chicago at clubs and hanging out at Heroes.
Yeah. I remember those days.
Yeah. So I am going to eat, man, at different places. But man, I don't care what other people do. It's just me. I love my community. I love where I went to school at. And anything that I personally can do for people, I try to do it because I think part of being a human is giving back. And sometimes it can be money. Sometimes it can be just
time. Yes.
Your time. A lot of people want time. I don't run away from that like a lot of people.
And it's greatly appreciated, man. And just to attest to what you're saying, I asked you one time, and you didn't say yes. You shot me your information and said, call me tomorrow. And it was a shock because I do that an hour a day, every day.
Well, the difference between some people, because everybody ain't like that. It's a lot of people like me. I got one phone number.
Mm-hmm.
And when I give you that number, that's why I say text me. So I put it in. So as soon as you call me, it's going to ring. I got an iPhone. It may go to voicemail. It may ring, may go to voicemail. So I got one number. And that's what I give people. I used to have a house phone. Nobody has a house phone no more. So, so now I got a cell phone. I give people that number. And I don't have 2 and 3 phones. I ain't got no voicemail. When you call me, you got my personal number. That's just who I am, And
greatly appreciate it.
I've had players that I call. I was like, "It's a goddamn voice." I get rid of them, and these been guys I played with. And these guys I played with, and I delete the fucking number out because that ain't who I am.
Yeah, man, and it shows. It shows. Like I said, you, and it's been a few. You, Lynn Elmore, and Odin Polynice. Well, actually, Rod and Kenny were very easy to get in contact with as well. Yeah. But it's greatly appreciated, man, because a lot of people, like you said, a lot of people play games, send you this way, send you that way, send you up, send you down, and then you never get the true contact with the person, and then they're turned off. You, like you said, and then I left a message. You call back in 15 minutes. And like I said, man, a lot of people will BS you and run you around the edges. And then it's like, never mind. I don't want to do it, man.
And sometimes some of my friends, man, you too humble. I mean, I'm going to speak to people as long as you show me respect. If you don't show me no respect, then I ain't going to show you no respect. I'm not going to say I'm perfect because ain't nobody in the world perfect.
Mm-mm.
But I'll tell you this right here. You show me respect, I'm going to show you respect. And so I think that's why I haven't had a lot of issues. Hell, I had more issues when I was growing up in Edisto Court. I'm from a little small section on the south side of town, Columbia, South Carolina, called Edisto Court.
Okay.
And sometimes I did have some issues. But for the most part, as an adult, I have no issue because people know the type of person you are. You may whoop my ass, but you're going to know you've been in a fight.
And that's the key.
That's the key. But that thing is, I'd rather be a man than a coward. I'd rather stand up and die than run. But that's me.
Amen. I appreciate that. Hey, that's the one to grow on right there. Yeah. And if a lot more people felt that way, again, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in from coast to coast, border to border.
Right.
You have to stand up for what you believe in, or you may as well not say anything.
Correct. I was telling some kids at Alcorn Middle School earlier this week, I think it was Tuesday, and I was telling a lot of the times new kids would come to the school, they would put them with me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the fact that I would fight, but the fact that if you got a little name and you got a new kid with you, nobody seems to mess with, oh man, he must be cool, he was X.
Indeed.
It's some of my best friends, Kenny Saxon, Albert and Ernest Whaley, 2 brothers. I was like, man, y'all come hang with me. Ain't nobody gonna mess with you. Come hang with me and my cousin, man. Ain't nobody gonna mess with y'all. Come to find out, both of these jokers are black belts. Ooh. And I looked at them, I was like, yo, man, why y'all ain't tell me y'all know karate? I'm sitting around, y'all need to be protecting me. I didn't even know it. I said, they was actually black belts. And so, and not just them, those are just a few names that I just called, but a lot of people, if you with someone who's kind of popular at the school, you don't have these issues. Where my father, every time I got in a fight in middle school, high school, one thing came up. Did you start it? I said, no, sir. And you look at the report, he was like, you didn't start it, we ain't got no problem. But if I would have started it, he'd have wore me out. Yeah. That's how my father was.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's that old school way, man. Defend yourself at all costs, right, but don't start nothing. And we cool. We cool. Right. You're cool. And I had a similar incident like with you and those 2 guys. I had a homeboy in high school. His name was Eddie Barber. Eddie was about 5'3". I wasn't much taller at the time. Eddie, people, it was these dudes ran up on Eddie. I'm on the football team. I was like, nope, ain't nothing happening. And it was like 12 of them. And I was like, nah, you don't want these football problems.
Right.
So I'm thinking I'm helping out my little friend, Eddie. I'm at the time, I'm all of 5'5", he 5'3". So one day I'm standing on the bus stop, and in Chicago, it used to, it's very gang centric. I had on the wrong colors, but I was in a Hispanic neighborhood, so I don't know their gang colors. Well, if I was in the black part, I would have known. These guys jumped out. Eddie drive past. He jumps out the car. Now, unbeknownst to me, Eddie is the gang chief. I jumped in the car with him. Right, I'm sitting in the car riding to school. Like, all this time I'm sticking up for you. I'm like you. You should have been helping me out, man.
Right.
So yeah. Like you said, man, if you are a stand-up person, you get stand-up people respect, and you have no issues whatsoever.
Right. And that's what I was telling the kids. Be a stand-up person. Stand up for people that can't stand up for themselves. You'll get way more respect from people. And it's about just helping people, man. I know some of the dumb crap that I used to do in high school. My high school coach was here, he'd be like, man, that's a whole nother segment. But because I used to do some silly stuff, and if you ever talk to Tyrone, he would tell you when he passed, Tyrone was telling a story, and he was like, Coach, I wasn't even with Xavier now. He was like, that was the point you should have been with. Because Tyrone was a stand-up guy. He went to class. He did the things he's supposed to do, where I was the opposite, And you know him from DePaul University, So we go all the way back to like maybe we were 12, 13 years old playing in the park and recreation and stuff. So, but my high school, man, I have so many stories to tell you. Oh my God.
Let's go. Yeah, I remember. I remember.
Hey, I asked y'all to be quiet. Y'all hadn't said anything while I wasn't on the phone, and now you want to talk while I'm on the phone. You best to be quiet. Jeez.
I remember him, man. I remember what we like to say was the play that got him in the league. He cut the lane and dunked on everybody and brought attention back to DePaul, and that was it.
Oh yeah, he used to have that cuff dunk even in high school.
Yes,
he had that cuff dunk.
Yeah. Yes, he is a legend here in Chicago.
Oh yes. Yeah, he dunked on Cozell McQueen. I got the ball. His brother jumped. I think it was his brother, or could have been him. But I know he dunked on him, man, and we were just, the crowd just went crazy. We was in the state championship game, man. Oh, it was one of the coldest dunks you ever going to see, man.
Oof.
Man,
trust me,
man.
Yeah. That was, I remember him, man. He kept the faith. Him and Kenny Patterson kept the faith going after Big Mark and that crew left.
Right.
Yes. I remember him, man. Big time basketball fan. Let's start off at the beginning, man. Let's talk about some of your earliest memories back there in South Carolina.
Some of my early memories, like being in sports. My uncle got me involved with baseball.
Okay.
At a very early age. He played a little sandlot baseball. He played high school basketball. He played all sports. And my uncle used to take me everywhere with him. I learned how to hit at an early age. I mean, when I was hitting the ball, it was like, there's no way this kid is 8, 9 years old hitting this ball out the park. But I was. My mother had to bring a birth certificate because it was like, there's no way he's this age. And my mother brought the birth certificate, and it was like, wow. So I played like 3 years of Little League, 2 years of Pony League, and 3 years of Coat League. I didn't play I played high school ball, but the high school ball, I made varsity in the 10th grade, and I wind up quitting because I didn't want to play right field. And me and the coach at the time, Coach, what coach name? Coach Sis. And me and Coach Sis got into it, and I was like, if anybody beat me, Coach Sis, I'll go to right field. Well, I don't have no position for you, Xavier. And I was like, I know I can outplay these guys, but he wasn't sitting. Max, I've asked y'all to be quiet. Now, when I get off this phone, you go sit on the steps. And so the baseball coach, Coach Sis, was like, I don't have no position. I said, if I outplay them, then I get that position. If not, I go to right field. And I hadn't played right field probably since I was like 8 or 9 years old. And he wouldn't do it. So I walked away. And I came back. I came back for JV as a pitcher for my high school basketball coach. He was coaching JV, asked me to come back. And I pitched like the last 12 games and stuff. And then I played again, but only in the summer, like a Babe Ruth League. We call it, like I said, is Little League, it's Pee Wee, Little League, Pony League, and then Coat League.
Yeah.
So I just kept playing Coat League in the summer. I'll play basketball in the summer league, and then sometimes I go straight from there and go play a baseball game.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So baseball was my sport. If anybody in Columbia talk to you, they always tell you, man, we always thought that cat was going to be a baseball player. I could hit a baseball a long ways, man. I could pitch. I could pretty much play any position. But when you hadn't played a position in a long time, like I hadn't played the outfield since I was like 8, 9 years old.
Right.
And the ball ain't hit that high when you're 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
I had
That's
a lot.
hockey once you get bigger.
I would always catch it, but I had a lot of trouble trying to figure out where it was at. And then I was like, oh, Lord. I had to run. I would always catch it, but I had a lot of trouble. I just didn't like the outfield. And I thought right field is where, you got a strong arm, but you're not a very good fielder. I never liked that position. So, but as I was growing up, like I said, that baseball, man, I love baseball even to this day. But for some reason, basketball was starting to make that momentum. And now I start to be I'm more into basketball. I would go to, when I was younger and I played basketball, I would go to the baseball game. I wouldn't go to the basketball game. But as I got older, I would go to the basketball game and then go to the baseball game.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll come in maybe 2 innings that went because we had a late game. And then by the time I got to the baseball field on the other side of town, it'll be like maybe second, third inning, and then they'll put me in whenever they feel like it. But basketball, I've always been into all types of sports. I played football. High school, I ran track. I ran cross country.
Oh, wow.
So I've always been athletic. Even in elementary, I was on the tumbling team, the relay team. I did a lot of things. My mother and father always kept me active. And so the neighborhood I stayed in, like I said, Edisto Court off of Rosewood Drive in Columbia, South Carolina. Tough neighborhood, man. My parents try to keep me active year-round and stuff. So, but as a kid, you're going to find a way to get in some trouble. We always going to do that.
Yeah.
No matter how much. It's 24 hours in a day, and you're going to find a time to get in some trouble. And I will sometimes find it. But mostly for maybe fighting in the neighborhood. I know some of my friends, they're getting ready to go do something crazy. I didn't do that. Never was into drugs. Never sold drugs. But I would get in that little trouble. The worst trouble I ever got into, I stole 2 fig bars. They were about, I think they're about 25 cents. I had the money. I'm watching everybody, guys stealing beer, guys doing this. The police stopped me. I got 2 fig bars, maybe 25 cents, 50 cents total. And he stopped me, placed me under arrest, but he don't handcuff me.
Okay.
I gets into the car, and a guy from the neighborhood opened up the door, and I'm sitting there. He said, "Get your ass out and run, X." And I just took off. Hey, that police officer said I was running so fast. He said, I seen how fast he was running. I said, I knew I could catch. And I had to cut into the projects. And I got home.
You're in the free zone, that.
And one day I got a call from my mom, and I was still playing football at the time.
Okay.
And in my sophomore year on JV. And she said, and I knew something was wrong. She said, I knew you was home every night. I knew something was wrong. I just couldn't figure it out. I got home from school, man. She beat the brakes off me. My dad beat the brakes off me. And my dad said, "That's the worst thing you can do is fucking steal." And I mean, he was beating the brakes. I can't even say how he was beating me because people would say that is just straight up child abuse.
Right.
And at the end of the day, my dad always told me it's better for me to chastise you than they do it in prison.
Yeah, yeah.
They ain't gonna chastise, they're gonna kill you. So, man, I don't need window shop because of that. I don't need window shop. If you talk to anybody that know me, they'll tell you. If they're like, man, let's just walk to the mall and go walk and let's walk around. Man, I don't do that.
Yeah,
I don't do that. Man, but lesson learned.
Indeed.
Don't put nothing. If you can't pay for it, don't mess with it.
Amen.
And so, I tell people I ain't ashamed. You know, I did what I did. The police wind up finding me because I was running so fast. I said, I lost my meal ticket, but I got a new one at school.
Okay.
It fell out my pocket.
Ah.
And it said it took him about 3 weeks to find me. And so in the city of Columbia, we got 7 high schools. On the outskirts of town, we got another 5 now. But at the time, we only had Northeast and Spring Valley. So it was a total in Richland County, we only had 9 high schools total.
Okay.
So he said it took him about 3 weeks to find. And he said, "What? I wasn't even going to do nothing to you. I was just going to drop you off at home and tell your mother to tell you to stop following these people."
Ah.
But he told my mom some lies. She's like, "Well, he was stealing beer." And I'm like, "I didn't steal any beer. I just had big bars." But he told my mom something that I wasn't even drinking beer at that time. You know, I may have one now, but I at that time, 15, 16, I wasn't drinking no beer. But man, boy, my mom and father, man, they tore into me, man. And, you know, but hey, after that, man, never stole anything in my life. And if I did, it was accidental and I didn't even know.
Right, right.
But just like most kids, man, you know, we get in trouble, we learn. But athletic wise, I've always been athletic, man. And I had a great high school coach that kind of with my parents because I was always a little slick now. My mother was cooking. My dad worked 2 jobs. So a lot of times I would be filling out all the paperwork for me and my siblings.
Okay.
I mean, but my high school coach started understanding, no. I could get out of anything. I had asthma as a kid, so I used to be able to do this thing right here. I'd make myself hiss, and they would make me go. I would go home. My high school coach, he got with my parents. It was like, if he can get up and walk, he come to school. So a lot of things changed, but I mean, as a kid, I was just very athletic. Played baseball, like I said, football, basketball. I ran track. I ran cross country. I did a lot of things.
What position you play in football?
Defensive end.
Okay.
I tell people all the time, I thought I was Ed Too Tall Jones. I'm not even going to lie. I had fist pads all the way up. I had an elbow pad. And, you know, at that time, you could slap people upside the head.
Oh, yeah.
But I was skinny. And I knew that most of my friends played football. That's most of the reason why I played.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, football was a sport. I still love it to this day because I watch it every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Love the Cowboys. Go Cowboys. We got to beat Philadelphia Eagles this weekend. Saturday. But I love football, love baseball, and love basketball, man. That's what I do. Sports has been a part of my life all my life.
That's awesome. When did you start growing? You 6'7" now. When did you sprout up?
In the 8th grade, I was between 5'9" and 5'10". And then after by the time I got to high school, I was 6'1". And then at the end of my 9th grade year, I was about 6'4".
Okay.
I kind of stayed 6'4" that whole year.
Okay.
I come back my junior year, I'm like 6'6".
Game over.
There you go. Then when I was a senior, I grew to 6'7". Then while I was in college, I also grew about a half an inch in college.
Okay. Okay.
So my actual height is about 6'6". I mean 6'7.5".
Okay.
Without any shoes, I'm like 6'6" is
Okay.
what the NBA measured me years ago.
Okay.
So they do it with your shoes on and with your shoes off. I'm like almost 6'8" with my shoes on. So
Okay.
I just started growing, man. You're talking about 5'9", 5'10". I just started growing. My uncles were tall. My grandfather was tall. My mother was short. My daddy wasn't, about 5'10".
Okay.
But I got a great aunt that lived in Ohio that was from South Carolina.
Okay.
She was about 6'2". My mom's sister was about 6'2". I have a special need aunt. She about 6. So the height was in the genes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so my grandfather about 6'3", 6'4". My uncle, both of my uncles 6'4", 6'5", somewhere around there. So it was in the genes, and I'm 6'7", 6'8". So
Yeah.
that's where the height came from. But man, I was small, man. And then all of a sudden, I just kept going and going and going and going.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. Hey, I got beat for that, man. I'm like you. Everybody around me, me and my son, the shortest two people in our family, 5'9" and 5'10". My uncle, my father, everybody 6'3", 6'4". My grandfather 6'3". My grandmother 6'10".
Yeah.
5'10".
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
I got gypped.
Yeah.
I got
Well,
cheated.
and I got two more boys. My other son, he like 6'6", 6'7", Xavier. And then I had a cousin. He's passed now. He was like 6'7". So we had them tall genes in our family. And my daughter Zelina, who played at North Carolina, she's 6'2".
Yep.
My daughter Alicia about 5'10". So I'm waiting to see what Max and Dax gonna be. Even my granddaughter, who's 10, man, that girl almost look like she about 6 feet already. She's so tall. So it's in the
You might be
genes.
watching her on TV soon.
Yeah.
So how, like you said, you already mentioned how Wichita State played a role, and you love Wichita State. How did you get from South Carolina to Wichita State?
To make a long story short, I originally committed to South Carolina.
Okay.
Nobody knew. Nobody knew but the coaching staff for USC,
Okay.
my mother and father, my high school coach, and me. Even my best friends didn't know.
Okay.
Because I didn't want it to get out, because at the time you needed to have a 2.0 grade point average, and I pretty much had like a 199 grade point average. And we wanted to make sure that I had that 2.0 before we started announcing stuff. And then South Carolina signed 6 guys that year. They started talking about they want me to go to prep school. And I ain't going to no prep school, I just had that sophomore year where I didn't do nothing. And had like 3 Fs and a D. I took a food service class that was half a day. And I had 3 other classes. And I got all Fs on them and the D in the food service. Because I didn't want to do a cook. I didn't want to be washing dishes, doing all this other stuff in books. So my high school coach told me he think I need to go on recruiting trips, because I guess he never told me, but I'm assuming that he started understanding that USC was recruiting some other people. So I wound up going to Mississippi. Me and Tyrone went down to University of Mississippi. And I was like, man, I don't want to go to Oxford. And I was like, Coach, I don't want to do no more recruiting. I just want to go to South Carolina. I grew up on a walk 5 minutes from their ticket office. I could be at their dormitories in a 15-minute walk.
Oh, okay.
That's how close I stayed to the campus. So after they signed 6 guys, like I said, they started talking about prep school, and I was like, I ain't doing it. So I started opening up my recruiting again. Took a trip to Memphis State. I took a trip to Clemson. I took a trip to Wichita State.
Okay.
And so Clemson, I'm going to be very honest. I am a Gamecock fan, always been. I grew up in their backyard.
Okay.
In Clemson, I don't think I gave them a chance.
Okay.
But Memphis State, I really like Memphis State. Dana Kirk was just, you going to South Carolina, everything we hear. And then Larry Finch, who was the assistant coach at the time, before he passed away now.
Mm-hmm.
Man, don't worry about Coach, man. I'm going to talk to him, man. If you tell me, I believe you. And I told him I wasn't sure. I went to Wichita State next. And, man, I probably had the best time of my life. Cliff Livingston showed me a great time. I just enjoyed myself. And when I went to see Coach Smithson at his house, he was like, "Can you dribble?" I was like, "Yeah, I can dribble, but, I'm told to get the ball to the guards." He was like, "Let my big guys dribble as long as they don't turn it over. Can you dunk?" I said, "Yeah, but at my height, you miss a dunk, you in trouble." He said, "Yeah, you miss a dunk with me, you in trouble too." You better get fouled. So I just liked what he showed me, and it was more or less like what I played in high school, up tempo, and that's what I like.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took a gamble, man. I said, I came home. I told my mom. She asked me how I like it. My dad. I said, I loved it. I had a great time. I talked to Coach Goodwin. And Coach Goodwin, who was with Coach Jeffries at the time with the football team. Our families are real good friends.
Oh.
His nephews, Chris, is one of my best friends. Always have been. His brother Jerome. We've always been good friends.
Okay.
And so when I went out there, I spent a day with them and his family, and I just felt like it was best for me to go out there. I'd have been away from Columbia. I wouldn't be having that temptation to do something stupid, and it just gave me an opportunity to just grow up. Like my dad would say, you need to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
You need to grow up. I didn't even like making my own bed. My sisters didn't want to make it for me sometimes. But my senior year, my mama made me make it every day. Only thing I want to do is eat. I get in there, cook whatever we had in there. But I wasn't trying to do a whole lot of housework now. And so I didn't even like taking the trash out or raking the yard. Talk to him, I said, I tell you, my father just told me I need to grow up. And I went to Kansas, man, and best decision I ever made.
Yeah, man. And you know what? A lot of people, in my opinion, that is exactly what they need. They need to get away from home because your mama gonna take care of you. Your mama gonna take care of you, period. That's what they do. And your father gonna threaten you, but he ain't gonna really do nothing to deter you. But once you get away from that nest, I tell people now to this day, if you don't have nothing else to do, if you can't go to school, you should at least go to the military just to be away from home and create that additional structure so the world can touch you. That's what I call it. So the world can touch you. Because once the world touch you, you straighten up.
Right.
Because it ain't no parent. Because your parents, they're going to take care of you. That's what they do.
That is true too. But what also, it gave me an opportunity, man. I got friends in St. Louis. I got friends in Tulsa. I got Dallas.
Yeah.
Los Angeles. Got friends everywhere, man. That's one thing about leaving home. You need other people.
Yes.
And, Arbor Sherrod, Cheese Johnson, former player Cheese Johnson, Arbor Sherrod, my teammate, Cliff Levington, Antoine Carr. Man, if I go to San Antonio, Twan, what you doing? Hey, I'm be heading that way, bro.
Yes.
And so it gave me other friendship besides the people who I grew up with. Because sometimes you outgrow some of those people.
Yes.
And if I see people that I know, man, I see one of my friends, man, we were good friends in high school. I called him, was going into Sam's. He had all my meat cut for me for Christmas because I'm doing steaks and lobster tails here at the house. My sister doing the sides and stuff. And
what's the address again?
Huh? Yeah.
What's the address?
Hey, you more than welcome. You come, you call me. Hey, but I was like, Rick, and I don't talk to Rick that often, but I've known him since we were 12 years old. Mm-hmm. So I still got a lot of the people here I talk to, but there's some that maybe some jealousy, maybe some that you outgrew. But I always tell people, I'm the same. I'm Xavier McDaniel. I'm the mountain man. That's what they called me in high school, mountain man. You know, they didn't call me X, they called me mountain man. That's who I am. I've never changed. Money has never changed me, but I felt like money's changed a lot of people around me, but it's never changed me. You know, so I look at the situation as if, you know I'm not 13, 12 or whatever age. I'm a man now, and I could try to conduct myself that way. But my friendship with people, hey man, if you're a friend, you're gonna be a friend, regardless of what with me, you know. And I think friends should be there for each other.
Indeed. If I mess with you, I'm stuck with you, man.
Right.
One of the guys, and a couple of guys that are in the chat room. One of the guys, he called himself Big Illinois. My boy Anthony.
Yeah.
Me and Anthony been hanging since 1981.
Right.
You know, our families are intertwined. You know,
right.
It's just, yeah, you're right, man. And again, that's the beautiful part. Like my buddy Stacy, met him away at school. I got friends, like you said, when you playing ball and you go away, you connect with people. When you get in connected with good people, you never they there. And I can call people that I haven't talked to in 4, 5, 8 years.
Yeah,
you'll think,
yeah. I mean, and I had some friends, man, here. I grew up with them right around the corner. And, man, and went to school with some people there like they don't even know you.
Wow.
So, but what's up? I'm going to speak. If you speak, you speak. But if you don't, I'm always speak. Or if I give you my number and you give me your number, I'm going to call you. And I'll be like, and then when I see you, X, let me get your number. This is what I told one of my friends. We grew up, man. I've known this kid since we were in kindergarten all my life. I say, hey, man, look, man, I love you, but I done gave you my number 3 or 4 times, and you give me your number. You never call me back. Let's love each other at this moment and relish the time that we're here right now until the next time I see you. And that's how I treat you.
Indeed, man. That's the beauty, man. That's beautiful, man. Because, like you said, a lot of people, they get to where you were, and then they get the house, they get the Cadillac and the, okay, yeah. Let's not forget who I am, and that's just not the way to be. And, and it's a beautiful thing to hear somebody that say, "Hey, I'm still the dude you grew up with. I don't care if I'm on TV tonight, I'm still gonna come back home and be. I have to be who I am," and that's a beautiful situation, man. You mentioned, and I was going. You went right into my next phase of question. How was it playing with Cliff Leviston and Antoine Carr? Because those guys, that's a beautiful thing to go to Kansas, meet these people, and then spend the next 15 years of your life them being, in essence, co-workers or in the same field of work. How was it going to Wichita, knowing Antoine Carr, knowing playing with those two guys?
Well, I went in there with a chip on my shoulder because I knew I was going to be the new dog, I'm saying dog, but I was going to be the new person on the block. And I knew, when you leave high school to college, it's like starting over again. Yeah. And what I learned from Cliff was hard work. Hard work and determination. That dude worked hard in practice, so I wanted to work just as hard as him. Antoine taught me how to dunk on people. I knew how to dunk on people because I out-jumped people. But I didn't know how to dunk on people. Cliff Livingston used to grab I'd go to the hole like I'm dunking, and he would be like, "Get that shit out of here." And one day after practice, Antoine showed me how to do it. He said, "See, you trying to use jumping ability. You just can't use that." Antoine was one of the most skilled guys I ever seen in my life. And see, a lot of the people see him as the big dog, but I'm talking about when this cat was 6'9", 225, looking like a daggone 4-year-old horse, like he could run in the Kentucky Derby. Mad skills, And so he showed me how to move that ball around. And I remember the first time I dunked on Cliff. He may not remember it. He never jumped again with me.
That's what I'm talking about.
And so, you try to take things, man, because Cliff was a great player in Wichita State. He's a 3-year starter. Took him to the Elite 8. Him and Antoine, the bookends, I always say they're the two most famous forwards in Wichita State history. Because there's never been another tandem like that. I respect both of them. I know when we played, I talk a lot of crap to them because that's just who I was.
Yeah.
And I love them because they're my brothers. But Cliff, it was just the hard work, man. It was just the hard work. Out of all three of us, Antoine Carr is more talented than me and Cliff put together. I'm just going to be honest. And I can get a whole bunch of people to validate that. This dude was unbelievable, and he jumped as high as we did. And he was bigger and didn't lift weights.
You know what? Let me interrupt. Why didn't Antoine become an NBA All-Star? Because I saw the same thing you saw. I mean, this dude was in the post dominating. By the time he got to the league, he wasn't jumping over nobody. He was just working out. He was killing you left, right, slam, two-hand dunk. I never understood why he never sat in one place and dominated because he moved around San Antonio, Milwaukee. Right. He went all around. What stopped him?
I would say Antoine was just so talented. I think his work ethic. Hey, Cliff work ethic or my work ethic, I think he would have been an MVP candidate. We would be working out if it wasn't mandatory. Like we practice, we work out, we do our 3-mile run. We usually like the first week of school, you get that week off. The second week we run on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We do 3 miles.
Okay.
Tuesday we do sprints, and then Thursday we would do a mile run. And if nothing wasn't mandatory, he didn't show up.
Okay.
And I think that if he would have applied himself some more, you see, he went number 8. And I watched this guy, man. This guy's a phenomenal body. See, everybody know him as the big dog in San Antonio and Utah, in Atlanta. But I'm talking about when he was cut up, 6-piece, 6-pack, and just unbelievable muscles, arms. And he didn't even lift weights. I didn't lift weights neither. But this guy was, he was more talented than me and Cliff put together.
Man, that dude was nice. I never understood. Okay, well, I understand that. I understand now. But yeah, man, I'm not going to lie to you. It was plenty of times I was like, man, this dude need to be playing for the Bulls. And he was moving. He was moving. He'll sit down for a couple of years, I'm like, man, I never understood it.
I was 6'7". And I led us in rebounding my sophomore year.
Yes.
That's the first year we had the 3-pointer, the 82-83 season. He was shooting 3-pointers. I didn't shoot none now.
Wow.
He was shooting 3-pointers. Man, he got some of the most iconic dunks in Wichita State history. This guy was unbelievable, man. I just felt like if he'd applied himself a tad bit more, he definitely had Hall of Fame potential, but I think he should be in the College Hall of Fame. I think him and Cliff should be in the College Hall of Fame.
Wow, I would have assumed that they were.
I just got in there I got in there 2013 or 14, I think it was, 15.
Should have took you there, especially with what you did in college, man. Let's talk about that. You the first dude to lead the NCAA in rebounding and scoring.
Correct.
Okay, that's in 85. Now, I understand. That's Patrick Ewing year. It was too much press behind that Georgetown team. So I knew you didn't have a chance at Player of the Year. But I was thinking more, if I'm not mistaken, Chris Mullin beat you for the Oscar Robertson, and it was it was another one. I think it's the
Wayman Tisdale, maybe?
Yeah, Wayman Tisdale.
Well, I know we all came out the same time.
Yeah.
Wayman was a year younger, but he left early. But I'm gonna tell you this right here. I don't care. I felt like Patrick Ewing was the number one player. But I felt like what I did, and I went number 4, so I'm not, bashful at that. I wanted to go to Seattle. But I felt like what I did in college in 1985, first person to ever lead the nation scoring and rebound, that my stuff should have been in the Hall of Fame. I felt like that. My numbers are decent, but that's only because the last 5 or 6 years I wasn't playing that much.
Yeah. I ain't have to worry about that.
I feel like if people ask me, and I went to do a autograph signing at the Naismith, and I told them I believe that I'm a Hall of Famer. I gave them 2 different reasons why. I said one is I did something nobody ever did, and my jersey should have been there, and my name should have been in the Hall of Fame. I said if I came out the ACC, the Big Ten, one of the big power conference, it would have been there. Or one of the bigger names, or Michael, or Larry, or Magic. Secondly, I think I should have been there is because of the body of work that I did those first 6, 7 years in the NBA.
Yes.
I got caught up in a contract situation in 92, 91, 92. And my minutes dropped from 33, 34 minutes a game to 28. Goes to Boston, and my minutes drops to 28 again. 26 and 21, and then 12 and 8 the next 2 years. So I felt like I had Hall of Fame numbers leading up until the first 6 years of my career.
Yeah.
And even in Phoenix, my minutes dropped. So when I was in Seattle, averaging 35, 36 minutes, I put up the numbers.
Monster.
Can't score sitting on the bench, but I still tell people I felt like I was a Hall of Famer.
Didn't you make the All-Star team coming off the bench?
Yeah. Well, no, I made it my 3rd year.
Okay.
Which I felt like I should have been at least a 4 or 5-time All-Star.
I agree.
In Seattle.
When you, Chambers, and Ellis were together.
Yeah. And we don't get the credit. You hear everybody talking about Chris Mullins and Mitch Richmond and Chris Mullins, Mitch Richmond, Tim Hardaway. Our scoring average is higher than theirs.
Yeah. I mean, that Seattle team, y'all only got beat by the Lakers. The Lakers was the only team that could have stopped y'all, and that's the only team that did.
They stopped us in 87 and 89.
Yeah.
Nothing to take away from Mitch and Chris Mullins and Tim Hardaway, but because of Seattle don't have a team, we're not mentioned like them. But man, you on any given night, you don't know who gonna do it.
Hey,
you don't know. 23 points a game, and we got 3 of them in the top 10.
Man, you, Chambers, Ellis, y'all had McMillan, y'all had McKee, y'all were killer, man.
Kevin Williams, Danny Young.
Yes.
We had Maurice Lucas, Clement Johnson. Man, we had forces, enforcers, scores, defensive guy. I just felt like when I reflect on that 86, 87 team, we got Derek McKee and Older Pollard. I felt like we should have kept Maurice Lucas and Clement Johnson because they were the veterans that kept us together. They wanted me to be that step-up role, but I'm the same age as some of these guys. And I think it would be better for, Maurice, NBA champion, Clement Johnson, NBA champion. I felt like they would have a lot to say, and we wound up letting those guys go. And even though we did a little bit better, but I think that they would have been able to groom us a little bit better. I felt like they could have kept them at least another year and stuff. So that was just my opinion. And so, but I mean, like I said, we went 39, 44, 48. We kept improving each year. And then we let Tom go, drop back down. Then I went to the bench. It was just, where the Lakers got their same starting 5. Or same 7, 8 players.
Yeah. If you constantly change, then you're not going to beat the Lakers. You're definitely not going to beat the Lakers. You might be able to beat a lot of teams, but at that point, that was a machine, man.
Right.
And they just kept adding little piece. Right. It was an unstoppable machine, man. But yeah, I remember
like
watching
y'all a little longer.
Huh? What was that?
I felt like they should have kept us. But then, as you get to learning about the NBA, that was my first team that I played for. What happens is, as you learn the game of not just back, you learn the what general managers and head coaches. And someone told me one time, said, Xavier, who drafted you? I said, Lenny Wilkins. Okay, that's why you moved to the bench. Who drafted Derek McKee? Bob Wilson. Well, who drafted Scottie Pippen? Bob Wilson. Who traded Scottie Pippen for Olin Colonies? And it started making sense that they wanted to implement the people that they wanted. And so, but I was having such a good year, it took them a while to trade me. So, and that's the part of the game that you don't like. Because I felt like you let Tom go for nothing. You know, and I understand you traded the trade with me and Dale Ellis got in the fight. That helped prompt the trade a little quicker.
Yeah.
And stuff. But it also elevated John Kemp and Gary Payton to stardom too, which the Lakers was on their downside. You know, they were on their downside. So I felt like in a couple of years we would have been there, but it didn't happen. I mean, I love Seattle. They gave me my start. I'm indebted in them forever, and I'll be glad when they get a team.
Yeah. They should have had a team. They should have never let that team. First and foremost, they should have never let that team leave Seattle. That was, that was the great Northwest, and they always want to run that. It was on the West Coast, and they couldn't get media. But man, I'm telling you, from somebody who who loves basketball to this day, and somebody who used to pay attention, we used to love those Seattle Supersonic teams, man. And like you said, I totally agree with you, man. If they keep you, Ellis, Chambers together, now you got Kemp coming in the draft. Now you got Payton. Nobody touching y'all, man, because y'all had defense. Y'all had the ability to shoot it deep, score from anywhere on the floor. That would have been real.
Think about it. I got traded. I was 27 years old, so I was still in my prime.
Right.
Tom Chambers was like 30 when he left. So I'm saying, yes, we were getting older. I just always felt like we were always getting younger. And I remember Bernie Bickerstaff would say, McDaniel, sometimes you need to shut up. And I wasn't afraid to say, I used to fuck the Lakers. I mean, I
love it.
You want to beat that team. And I know it was tough to beat the Lakers. Magic, man, one of the greatest players to play the game. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, greatest player. Byron Scott, one of the greatest shooters. AC Green, one of the hardest workers. And James Worthy, one of the greatest players at his position. But I felt like we could beat them. But you can't play them and beat them playing 12 people all the time.
Right.
Maybe at home you can do that. Can't do that on the road. I felt like my philosophy was a little different than Bernie. If Worthy's still out there and he's going against the second team, the first team supposed to kick the second team tail.
Yeah.
So that was just my point on it. Bernie had a good scheme a lot of the times. I respect him as a coach. I just know that if we were ever going to beat them, they're only playing 7, 8 guys. We playing 10 or 12. At some point, they're going to get the advantage. But I mean, I love my time there. I got a lot of respect for Bernie. I got a lot of respect for him and his family.
Yes.
But I just wish that we would have been able to get over that hump. And getting over that hump sometime. It's just like with the Bulls. They could have broke that team up. They kept losing to the Pistons, but they stayed with it.
Yeah. And that's the key, man. I will always say that that's the key. You have to have continuity. Continuity is king. And if you keep moving, you must keep that core together and then add pieces. Just, man, like you said, you add that core that you had with Payton and Kemp, unstoppable, man.
I mean, that was a team, man. Everybody got along. I mean, our team, you could see all of us. We go out to the clubs. We go out to dinner. I mean, you'll see all of us together sometime. Like me and Nate, Dale, Alton Lister, even Tom. We would all go have dinner, man. We were really close. That team was really close, man. I thought we was on that verge of really, really getting over that hump. And then you see when they got rid of everybody, the Lakers starting to fade. And like I said, that just elevated Gary Payton and Sean Kemp, Derek McKee, and then they wound up trading Derek, getting Detlef Shrimp, Sam Perkins, some other guys, and elevating that team, man.
Yeah, Hersey Hawkins came.
Yeah. Yes. I just thought I was going to be a Sonic forever, to be honest. But I still love him. And I know a lot of the guys, even after I left, me and Dad left, we work out. I talk with Sam occasionally. So, um, I've always wished those guys, me, Gary, and Sean. I've always wished those guys the best.
Yeah, man. You know what? Let's talk about those the good old days. Who are some of your favorite teammates?
Believe it or not, people didn't even realize, man. Dale Ellis.
Wow.
Even though we got in the altercation, a lot of people don't even realize that we were okay. I'm still kind of pissed because when he hit me, I hit my daughter in my hand, and we talked about it, and we've been friends since, man. We're not even enemies, man. I talked to Dale.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Nate McMillan. We were cool. Derek McKee, Sadell 3, Olin Polynice. Man, we all hung out, man, at each other's houses and just kicked it, man. Meet at the bar sometimes, or club. We had a good team. Me and Tom and Danny Young, we used to go to this spot in Seattle called Jake O'Shaughnessy.
Okay.
This little seafood place. And we used to go there and eat all the time. And sometimes I pay, sometimes Tom pays, sometimes Danny pays. But mostly Danny being the point guard, I rarely let my point guard pay because I know he's going to get me the ball.
My man.
Yeah, him and his wife, well, at the time was his girlfriend. I know he married her. I'm trying to think of her name, but when she would come up, we would all go out to eat, man, and just have a great time.
That's awesome, man. And you know what? They made it, again, we talking about the national media, the stories that they want to put out there. And they always made you the villain because, again, I remember that you had no problem saying what was on your mind, which endeared you to most people around the country.
Right.
I got two questions for you. One question is come from one of my supporters, a dude I do, me and him do some stuff together in regards to this podcast thing. He said, "Who was your toughest matchup?"
Wow. I got to give a lot. I got Worthy, Mark McGuire, Larry Bird, Alex English, because in that altitude up there, man, you be breathing like a mug. Kiki Vanderway when he was with Portland. I'm missing somebody. Dominique Wilkins, because if he sees this podcast and he run into me again, Dominique Wilkins was tough. He was tough. Nick was tough. It's just a forward slot. Charles Barkley. It was just so many tough guys at that position. Chuck Person could shoot it, couldn't play off him. It was just so many guys, man. It's just hard for me to name one or two guys. Just to name a few, those were a few guys that would give you trouble. Now, Bird and Worthy probably got, and Mark Aguirre and Dominique probably got the biggest numbers on me. Because Dominique, man, in Atlanta, man, I know he shot the shot one time, and I went to box him out, and he wasn't even there. I looked up, he was dunking the ball. I said, he just shot. Dominique gets up real high on his shot, and I'm sitting there like, how he get down there quick and was able to dunk the ball? So I just, when he shoot, I just start slamming my body into him while I was in the air. But it's just so many great players, man. And that's the great thing about the NBA, man. Just so many great players. It's hard for me to really determine one. I like even a guy like Johnny Newman. I had trouble with Johnny Newman because Johnny could shoot, he could put it on the floor, and he never stopped moving. Those are the guys who are the toughest. The ones that always constantly move. You want to punch them in the back of the head.
Hey, you know what? I'm glad you brought up Mark. Me and Mark, of course, I'm 52, so Mark a lot older than we went to the same high school. And I was going to ask you about that. We were talking about the Hall of Fame a second ago. Mark, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. You, in my opinion, you, Terry, and Mark should be in the Hall of Fame. What are your thoughts on that? Terry Cummings, I mean.
Yeah, I think Terry Cummings is what they done for basketball. The next ain't just what you did in the NBA.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, you listen to Shaq, you listen to Barkley talk about the NBA, but you can go to Barkley. Barkley didn't have no great numbers and didn't win a lot of games. I don't even know if he ever went to the NCAA, but he's in the College Hall of Fame. He had a better pro career than he did college.
Most
But
definitely.
I'm just saying that their body of work or what they did in high school, what they did in college, and what
Yes.
they did in the pro, definitely Mark Aguirre definitely need to be there. And I think me in South Carolina, being a state champion and going to the NCAA in college and, winning almost 70% of my games, I think I deserve it. But, it ain't up to me because sometimes we look at numbers and sometimes numbers don't tell the truth.
But you know what? You had the numbers, man. We're talking about 25, 26 points a game for 3 or 4 straight years. You talk about the first dude that averaged the lead the NCAA and scoring and rebounding. And like you said, you killed it in the high. You, Terry, and Mar killed it in the high school. Y'all killed it in the NCAA, and y'all killed it in the league. I don't understand how y'all three not in. It's something that, me and the old school guys, we get to talking. Your name come up, Mark's name come up, Terry name come up. So it was a refreshing to hear you bring up Mark.
Definitely be there.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Terry Cummings had some of the heart issues and was out of ball for a while, but definitely Mark Aguirre should definitely be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I mean, yourself too, because no disrespect, because I was a big fan of Big Ralph too, but y'all, all three of y'all had the same, Ralph dominated until he got those knee issues in the league, but y'all did the same thing Ralph Sampson did.
Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, I had the knee injury too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my knee, I walk around with a little limp now.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people can say that they put people, I mean, I see some people, but I ain't mad because they're in there. I mean, it'll happen when it happens. If it don't, it don't. But that doesn't take away anything that you've done.
No, not at all.
Because, I mean, in college, because when they get to talking about Mark Aguirre name going to come up, Terry Cummings is another name that's going to come up.
Your name.
My name going to come up. And, the greatest thing is to hear one of your peers say what a great adversary you was.
Yes.
James Worthy, I ran into him, me, Lambier, Death the Shrimp, Moses Malone, Muggsy Bogues was doing the IBM commercial. And he said to me, man, and he said, boy, you was a hell of a player, man. Man, that's my Hall of Fame right there.
Yeah.
That's my Hall of Fame. So I know they got criterias and, it's what it is. And you just deal with it.
Okay. Since we on players, who are some of the players that we don't know, what the general public don't know about that you go, hey, man, y'all should have been paying attention to this dude too? Much like Johnny Newman. Because a lot of people listen don't even realize Johnny Newman was the man. He had to bounce with the Hornets and the Knicks.
I mean, I'll tell you a player that I admire and I wound up playing with, Reggie Lewis. Man, that boy was tough. Ken Norman, another player, was tough. Guys like people don't get enough credit. Marcus Johnson, he was a little bit older than me.
Yes.
Man, you talking about tough. I remember Calvin Nat being tough. Who's would be some other guy? See, when you got to think of this stuff, man, it gets tough sometimes.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
My boy, man, Jerry Reynolds, man, Ice Reynolds.
Iceman, yeah.
Oh, man, Jerry Reynolds, man, that cat, man, 6'9" can go. He should have went to Wichita State instead of LSU. But it's just so many guys, man. I mean, when you just look around, Rodney McCray.
That's a dude that don't nobody talk about who could do it all.
Right. One of the first pure point forwards.
Yes.
Robert Reed.
Yes.
And I'm
on the same team.
I'm going to throw a name out there. Mike Mitchell, the late Mike Mitchell. Man, could he give it to you? And his running partner, Johnny last name was? Jonathan Moore. Johnny Moore, that played the point guard. That he had some infection and he had to retire from that infection.
Oh, wow.
Used to wear double zeros.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, Johnny Moore. He wound up retiring. Even Alvin Robinson, who's been in a lot of
nobody talk about him anymore. Paul
Yeah.
Presley.
Paul Presley. I played against him in college. The Rubber Band Man.
Woo.
Yes.
Yes.
It's just so many great players that's out there that don't get that recognition that they deserve. So, but I tell people, man, if you want to measure how you play in the NBA. I tell guys, I said, what position you think I play? Don't look at my height now, my weight now. I say I'm still 205 pounds, 220. When I played, that's what I played mostly 205. I played mostly at 205, but later I got in my career about 218, 220.
Okay.
But man, it's hard. It seems like it's easy, but it's hard. It's really, really hard. And I'm gonna give you another name. Buck Johnson was a good pro player too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Ballard what's Ballard last first name? He won a championship with Washington, played with me in Seattle at the end. Battle. He went to Oregon State. I think he went to Oregon State or Oregon.
John Battle?
No, not John Battle, the guard that played with Cleveland and Atlanta. Not Battle. God, dog, man, he could shoot that mid range. It wasn't Battle. He played for Washington when they played Seattle. He might have been like a second-year player.
Oh, you talking about in the 70s?
Yeah, 70s.
I don't know him. In the 70s, I was pre-double digits.
Right. And then there's just some other guys, man, that were tough, man. People don't remember. Edgar Jones, I think that was his name. Edgar. He played with Cleveland. Man, that joker could jump. Or Roy
Johnson.
Eddie Johnson played with me in Seattle, Atlanta. Roy Henson from Rutgers. There's a lot of great players out there, man, that probably not getting the recognitions that they deserve.
Yeah. And that's the sad part, man, because one of the things that bothers me about sports talk today and what's going on in sports today is they in my opinion, they lie to the fans. We've never seen anything like this. Now Kevin Durant is a unicorn, but we've seen a 6'10" dude dominate scoring and shooting from all over the place. They call him Bob McAdoo.
Right.
We've seen that. We've seen it. Don't tell me. I can't believe you. I'm gonna believe my lying eyes then, because I've seen it.
Oh yeah.
Even with you.
Yeah, and Kevin
that's
Garnett,
Draymond Green, man.
Yeah, Kevin Garnett is
with less scoring.
I mean, y'all try to take credit for Kevin Garnett, but he's a South Carolina boy too, ball of South Carolina.
Yeah.
But, I mean, look at Kevin McHale, 6'10". But the narrative got to be to make the next generation better than the previous generation.
Okay.
So,
that makes sense.
They done got younger, and now they talk about, he's the first person. Well, hell, ain't that many people played at 20 outside of who? Magic Johnson, Enos Watley, Isaiah Thomas,
Moses Malone,
Bill Willoughby.
Yeah.
What's
the millionaire dude? I think the millionaire dude, he played early. Super Rich played with the Bucks for a minute.
Bridgman?
Yeah, he played young, didn't he?
Yeah. I'm not sure if Junior Bridgman played young or not. I'm not real sure. But John Williams from L.A., I mean, that played with Washington. Very few guys play, so they make the narrative. And I like these guys.
Yeah,
I love them. But they make like everybody was playing at 18, 19, 20 years old. Most people came in the league, they were 21 at the time. After their I think I just about named all the players at 20 that came in.
Yeah, it wasn't a whole bunch of people leaving early.
It was only a few people. So the narrative got to be where this generation is just as good as the previous generation. And that's why I don't like saying that Michael is the GOAT or Magic's the GOAT or LeBron is the GOAT. LeBron is the GOAT of his era.
Thank you.
Magic, to me, is the GOAT of the late 70s to late 90s. And then I got Michael Jordan as the GOAT of the 90s.
Okay. Yeah, and ain't nothing wrong with that.
And you got probably Kareem in the 70s.
Right.
I think you got to go by decades. And I know some overlap each other. But, I tell people all the time, It doesn't matter what era you played in. If you played in the NBA, you can play in today's game. The greatest thing about
Say it
people,
again.
the greatest thing about people is how people adjust. We adjust in life. We adjust on the basketball court. So I know the way I played in the 80s, and if they're calling it different, you adjust. People adjust. That's what we do. If something's wrong, we adjust. We figure out a way to get around it.
Exactly.
So I think if you played in any era, if you played pro ball, you can play in any era. That's just what I believe.
I totally agree. Even you could even look at football. You know, look in the 70s. You had Mel Blount. He was
Right.
bruising people all up the field. They changed the Mel Blount rule. Don't touch him
Well,
after 5 yards. He win Defensive Player of the Year.
Well,
They switched it up.
let's not talk about Mel Blount. I'm not a Pittsburgh fan. Let's talk.
I forgot you a Cowboy
Let's
fan.
talk about
My
like
bad.
water.
My bad. My bad.
Man. You know, hey,
Okay. Everson Walls then. There you go.
the walls. Yeah. But people have changed the game. And you talking about some of the hardest hitters at safety, Jack Tatum and Jack it was Tatum and you remember George Atkinson.
I'm a Raider fan.
Yeah. George
That's one thing.
Where they used to talk about how they used to bet money who gonna knock the most people out during the season.
Yeah.
That was football was brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, we as people, we like to see a guy get the shit knocked out of him and get up like he drunk, falling up. That's that Roman emperor type stuff in the Roman games where people are fighting, people are just cheering. That's that gladiator type stuff. They like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but the game has changed, and I know it's a lot of ticky tack stuff, but they still playing it. You know, and I just think with basketball, it's going to be the same thing, man. Every year they take out the hand checking. You got a guy like Derek Harper who would check you and put one hand on one side of you, hold you, and then grab you and steal the ball from you. And he used to drive Nick McMillan crazy. And we be trying to set picks on him and stuff, man. But that's just the way it is. The game, people adjust. Will adjust. And that's the way we are. I mean, you can tear out every house here and a winter storm coming. Hell, we ain't gonna stay in that winter but so long before we make a way to shelter ourselves now.
Yeah, man. And I'm glad that you're giving an honest assessment of things, because it's always this when somebody gives their opinion about what's going on, are you hating? Are you jealous? And you just saying, look, man, I'm a pro ball player. I'm a basketball player first and foremost. Whatever you put in front of me, I'm going to go around it. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to go over it. And it's good to hear that instead of always saying, well, these guys are better than us. And they say, well, they have more skill. And I'm like,
I think a lot of them are. And most of the guys went right. If you was left, you went left. These guys go both hands, and some guys now can dunk. Now, and let's just be honest. How many times did you see Sean Kemp go to his left and just dunk it with his left?
Yeah. Not many. Not yet. You don't see that.
A power dunk with the right over you, or on the break alley-oop, two hands. There are a few guys, man. These guys, man, they go with their left and they go with their right. They're very athletic. And the biggest thing is they're bigger. They're bigger. I mean, think about it. James Worthy and probably Larry Bird are the two biggest guys you're going to play at the small forward outside of Mark Aguirre, because Mark probably was about 230. Rodney McCray about 220, 225. And you looking at
that was it.
190 to 200. Xavier McDaniel 205. Dominique Wilkins 200. You know, that's not very big. You know, you look at Bernard King 205, 210. That's not very big. Look at LeBron and those guys. These guys, LeBron 250.
Yeah, LeBron Karl Malone with Michael Jordan athleticism.
You know, so I mean, the game has just changed, and there are a lot of people, man, that really put down these young guys because of the amount of money they make. You know, we all made money. Hey, I wish they make as much as they want, as much as you want to make, because I tell people all the time, when I first went to Phoenix, and I told them I'm going to be a free agent, and you give me what I want. they traded me to New York. I told New York the same thing. See, now I like it. I like these guys better because they control their destiny. They pretty much say, I want to be out of here, and they got to trade them. They know the players got more control. Same thing that I was trying to do. That's why I love these guys. They got a lot more control. And, we're not playing where when I played in the mid-'80s to the 90s, a lot of old people from the 60s and 70s, 80s that were owners of the team. See, all those people have died out now. They got a lot of new money in there. And these guys allow the players to have their say. I mean, look at LeBron taking my talents to South Beach, taking my talent back to Cleveland. Now I'm going to Los Angeles. So they control where they want to go. Now,
it's cool. It's cool.
Before you text me, nothing in Washington. As soon as they heard me talking, they came around.
It's good. It's good, man. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And you know what, man? You should hear the fans. They buy into what they say on these networks. Oh, he shouldn't have done it that way. But this is my life.
Right.
If they're not doing what I want them to do, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Just like you do at work. If you had the ability to go to this office or that office or that, if you had 31 different offices that you can go work at, you will go one of them offices. And I just don't get it, man.
Right now, I don't know about one owner outside the Bus family, and Dr. Bus is no longer alive. Most of those owners, like I said, those old owners who had that stronghold on the 60s and 70s with players and 80s, it started dying out. And I don't know many owners from the 80s. I know the Bus family. Look at New York. It used to be owned by Paramount Pictures. Mr. Dolan on them now.
Yeah.
I know the Seattle Supersonics.
They sold. That's how they ended up in
But they done sold twice since then.
Yeah.
Before they went to Oklahoma City, the owner who has them now bought them. They was the third owner. So what has happened is, like I said, a lot of owners have died off. They have been sold, and now you got a lot of young owners, and then you got David Stern, who's no longer there, Adam Schefter, and the players just got a lot of leeway now. A lot of leeway, man. They got a lot of leeway.
Okay, you mentioned New York, so I got to ask you about them Bulls, man. Talk to me about playing against Jordan and Pippen. And you know what? One of my cousin, he keeps texting me, asking me this. I don't know if I want to ask you this question. He said, "What were you saying when you were choking Wes Matthews?" He's
Actually, I wasn't saying anything. Me and Wes know what happened.
Okay.
And I was being recruited also by Wes School, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And his coach, man, used to come down to Columbia, South Carolina all the time.
Okay.
Get your stuff together, man. And Wes actually tried to kick me in my face. It's hard to see, but you gotta slow it up and you can see. And I just reacted. I tried to apologize to Wes in Atlanta. I was with Cheese Johnson, alumni brother.
Okay.
And he went and told security on me. And I was like, man, I was just trying to apologize for what I did. And he was like, get away from me, get away from me, get away from me. And so I always felt bad, man, because even my mama asked me, did I lose my daggone mind?
Oh, wow.
So
see, I didn't even want to ask you
I've
that.
always wanted to apologize to him sincerely, and he knows it's true. In Atlanta, I tried to walk up and apologize to him, but he didn't want to hear it. So, just something that happened, man.
Let's move on, man. I don't even want to make you uncomfortable. We having a great conversation, man. Thank you for even giving me a little time.
I ain't uncomfortable. I mean, I did.
Yeah.
But and I hear one day Stephen A. hollering about, some goons try to surround me in Madison Square. That shit ain't never happened. But I don't respond to stuff because people got stuff they want to make themselves look good or talking about me walking around with a towel. and with an erection, I don't respond to shit like that anyhow.
Yeah. That guy, you know what? I don't, yeah. Let's not even talk. That guy, right? Yeah. I'm just gonna say that guy, and then we done with him.
Yeah.
Talk to me about them Bulls wars, man.
Man, there was some. Oh, I don't think I ever been that tired in my life. It was intense.
Okay.
From game 1 to game 7, it was intense. You know, I listened to Michael in The Last Dance talking about how he stood up to the bully, and I was like, "Come on, Mike, stop that, man." Yeah, he stood up for Scotty, but goddamn it, let's tell what happened now. We both said "F you" to each other, and then I said, "What you want to do?" And if you watch that tape and go back and watch, you see us both saying something, and then all of a sudden you see Scott Williams and the referee coming in, because that time I said, "What you want to do?" You know when I said, "What you want to do?" If you look, they both rushed in and backed us up and gave both of us a take. I was ready to bail because I figured if I lose, we still got Patrick. If I get kicked out, we got Patrick. If Michael get kicked out, now I probably couldn't go out in Chicago. I probably wouldn't have been able to go back out in Chicago. I probably wouldn't have been able to, but hey, it was a situation, man. He stood up for Scotty. I was talking a lot of crap to him, and but I got a lot of respect for Scotty. I got a lot of respect. I always tell people, I remember when we drafted him, and I was like, man, this dude passing like this, man, boy, ooh, we gonna be tough. But we got a train on the Polynese. They're swapping picks, and that's how we got OP. And I love OP too, but I thought we were gonna get Scotty for a brief 15 minutes and stuff. So I just like guys, man, and I didn't even give Scotty his time, man, but Scotty was tough because he's going to make you play defense because he handles the ball a lot. And I've always liked Scotty, and I've only had maybe one time where me and Scotty kind of hung out. We were playing cards in Tampa. We played them in Tampa, Seattle, and Vancouver. And we were playing cards at the hotel in Tampa. And then we went to Seattle, and then we went on to Vancouver. We played the Bulls 3 times in preseason. We had 42,000 people, over 40-some thousand people in the Tacoma Dome in a preseason game. And so we went to Vancouver because that was the year before they got there. And I was told I wasn't playing because I thought I got traded to New York.
Okay.
So, and that happened even before me and Dale fight, because I'm like, well, we have to sit you out this game. Something's going on and I just can't tell you. And the rumor came out, David Falk called me, and I thought I was going to get traded to New York.
Okay.
Doing that, that's the year I went to Phoenix. That didn't happen. But didn't really get to know him a lot, but I mean, I've always respected his ability and the things that he did.
You know what? I watched this show called The Pivot, with Ryan Clark, Fred Taylor, and Channing Crowder. They had my man Isaiah Thomas on there this week, and he was talking about his issue with Michael Jordan. But enough, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the bad boy Pistons. How did the rest of you guys, because like you said, it's one thing for what we hear. How did you guys view the Pistons?
Physical. They're going to knock the shit out of you. Don't be looking for the officials to give you anything. We wanted to match their intensity when I was with Seattle.
Okay.
I remember Derek McKee gets hit one time, and I mean, Rick Mahorn leveled the fuck out of him. And I said, get your ass up, Derek. Get up. And I looked right at him and said, Nate, call that same play. He was shooting free throws. And I said, anybody hit him, I'm going to knock their ass out tonight. And we called a play for 2 straight things. He just went right down the middle for layups. Because I was pissed. I mean, they hit Derek. They knocked the shit out of him in Seattle. And I was livid. And I don't mind getting hit. But when it's dirty, that's where I got the problem with. Sometimes Bill, Rick. Those guys would hit you and be dirty about it. And I didn't like that. You can hit me hard because I done hit James Worthy. And me and him shook hands on. He done hit me and we done shook hands on it. Alex English, who's from Columbia, South Carolina. We done hit each other and that never happened. But when you do that dirty crap, man, I just didn't like the dirty stuff that they would do and stuff. So, but you knew you had to match it. Just like when we played them with New York. Only thing we said was the bully gonna bully the bully. You hit us once, we hit you 3 times. Every time you hit us, we wanted to hit you more and more and more. That game, that was a physical game. And if you go back and watch any of those games, there were always something breaking out. Not once, not twice. Every game. Something broke out every game, 3 or 4 different times. And we said we weren't going to get bullied. If we want to win this series, the bully got to get bullied. And that's what we did.
I love it. I love it. What team did you enjoy playing against the most that you played consistently?
I love Seattle, man. That's the most success I had in my career. I love playing in Phoenix. How can you not love playing in Phoenix? You wake up to 80-degree weather.
Yeah, man. I love Phoenix myself. One of my
I just didn't like the style of play. Their style of play was a little different than what I was comfortable with. They had Tom Chambers and Kevin Johnson screening roll, and then everybody else spot up. I'm not a spot up shooter. I like to get it and dance with it a little bit. Maybe go through the legs, make a few moves, or post up. But it worked for us, so I just roll with it. Never complained. But I enjoy playing with Tom again, man. Tom is my guy. People don't realize that. Tom was my guy. That was my guy. We were cool. New York, I felt was, outside of Seattle, was the better fit for me.
Okay.
But contract problems again. Now I'm playing 35 minutes a game as soon as I buy my contract out. And by the way, I hit the first buyout of a contract.
Okay.
I paid $500,000 to get out of my contract.
Oh, wow.
And they jerked me around. So what is what it is. But I felt like New York was their best fit. I felt like if I would have been able to sign back with New York, I believe we could have beat the Bulls. I believe we match up very well with them.
Indeed. 7 games.
They probably was a little bit more athletic than we were. Scotty and Horace, 2 years younger. But what I did, I would be able to take Scotty in the post. And then you either have to double. If you don't double, I could get my shot off against anybody, even 16 guys. So I felt like that matchup favored us because name small forwards that could pick Scotty up full court. See, I could pick up full court. I got to always play hard defense. I just play that little token defense. Let him know I'm there. Just jab at him. Let him know I'm there. Just sometimes pick him up full. And I tried to force him left as much as possible. Use your off arm. Use your left hand as much as possible. I just felt like that was a good matchup for me and stuff. So I felt really good. And then having Starks and Gerald Wilkins to go against Mike, you know. And then, you know, Mark Jackson, true professional.
Yes.
I mean, you break that team up with 51 wins, man. And that's not a Riley. I mean, you look at Riley in Miami. He doesn't break that team up all the time.
Right.
He stays with him. Look at Hans, 18 years there, 20 years, something like that. He don't just let you go. He keeps that team together. And I just wish he would have kept us together.
So you, what was it? Dave Checketts? He broke up the team, or what's his name?
I don't know who dropped the ball.
Oh, okay.
I just know that I didn't visit nobody. I let them talk to whoever they want to talk to because they told me they were going to sign. They promised me. And I get a call. I'm at home, right where I live at now. No, where was I living at? 92. I was staying in another house because I built this 27 years ago. In 92, I had another house in a section called Spring Valley subdivision in Northeast Columbia. And so I got a call, and the guy was like, Xavier, they're gonna backdoor you. I said, what? He said, man, they got all these people coming in. They're gonna offer you a contract that you gave up. And so I'm talking about how he know what I gave up. So I called David Falk and said, man, hey, this September now. I hadn't signed. Camp starts in October, less than a month away.
Mm-hmm.
My first stop was Boston. And I wound up signing. I called Patrick Ewing, and he said, man, take care of your family. If they was going to take care of you, they'd be and took care of you. And a lot of people don't even realize we were also talking with Chicago.
Who?
A lot of people don't know that. We were talking with Chicago. But I wound up staying in Boston. They offered me 8 years. They offered me a 5-year deal with $8 million guaranteed out of the $13 million.
Gotta go.
I took it. I just gave up $500,000 plus. I was supposed to make. What was I supposed to make that year? I think 3.6.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave up 3.6 and 500. I think it was like 4.1. So really, I just signed a 1-year deal. Oh, that's what it was. It was 2 years, 1.8 plus 500, 4.1 million for an $8 million deal. So I really signed a 1-year deal for 3.9 million.
Right, because you just made up what you left.
Right. So this is why I don't get mad at the young guy. Get all the damn money you can.
Exactly.
This is why I don't get mad. I'm one of the few. I know some guys are maybe a little jealous. Not Xavier McDaniel. Hey LeBron, they're gonna give you $100 million. Take that damn $100 million. You ain't got to give me a quarter. Take it. Whatever they're gonna give you. I'm not mad. But that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to secure a bag for my future.
Exactly.
And I got jerked in
And
it.
I've had debates with my friends, and they say, again, in my opinion, they listening to the TV saying take less money for the team. I'm like, I'm not giving no billionaire no discount. That's your job to fix this.
I mean, I did that in Seattle. I signed my second contract. I took a little less money because we knew Dale was going to get upset because he wanted to be the highest paid player. So I took a little less money. And he don't realize that, but I did take less money.
That's
I took less money to be in Seattle. And, guys do that. I figure I can make it up a little bit, but you can never make money up that you leave on the table.
No.
Yeah, so I've done that before too. So
okay.
Guys do it all the time.
Hey, how was it playing with Patrick and Mason and Oakley and that crew?
I was just telling somebody, and it wasn't just playing with them. What about the coaching staff, man? We had Coach Dick Harder, Paul Silas, who just passed.
Rest in peace.
And Pat Riley. Man, I thought I was back in the hood again, man. Coach Harder is as tough as they gonna get, and everybody know Paul Silas is as tough as they gonna get.
Yes.
And Pat Riley, as much as he wore them nice suits, hard-nosed player too. Then you got Mace Oak Starks. I mean, and then you got Patrick. And then, when I got there, they was calling him Beast. I'm calling him Patrick. I'm looking like calling. And I said, okay, I see why they calling you Beast. So, I thought sometime, I'm like, man, I'm almost back in the hood now, man. But I thought it was I think we were tailor-made for that team. I just felt like they should have kept us. They kept the core of the team together. What you want, Dax? Okay, get out. Go get out now.
My name is.
So I just felt like we were tailor made for that team, but they kept the bulk of them together. Outside of me, Gerald, and Mark, they kept everybody else together for a lot of years. I just felt
definitely
like
think
they
they should
should
have
have
kept all three of y'all because, I'm from Chicago, but looking at those games, those games would have been better with you, Gerald, and Mark.
Right.
To trade Gerald and Mark you get rid of you, trade Gerald and Mark. That was just crazy. I mean, they made it easy for the Bulls.
Well, you bring in Charles Smith. I got a lot of respect for him too. But I felt like at that time New York was looking for the flashy type player. He's a lot more flashy than me. I tell people I might have been flashy when I was young, but my high school coach took all that out of me, and I became a hard-nosed player.
Okay.
But I just felt like they were looking for more flashy.
Okay.
And I feel bad for Charles because he got his shot blocked 3 times. But hey, look, I got mine not blocked, but knocked out of my hand. I still say I got fouled. But I shouldn't have never winded up because I was trying to wind it up and just dunk the shit out of it, to be honest. Where I should have just more or less brought it up here in Statue of Liberty. But, that team they had, man, I was just like, oh. But I thought we was going to meet them, but we lost to Charlotte. And I wanted to meet them so bad in the playoffs because it's been 1 versus 4. We won 51 games that year. I think they won 59. They won the Atlantic Division, 61 games, something. And I think Chicago finished number 2 that year. So, but man, I wanted to be there, but hey, it just didn't happen. And who traded 3 starters?
Right.
But I tell people, Starks got better. Anthony Mason got better. It worked out for them. It didn't get them to where they wanted to be, but it got them in '94. I just wish I would have been a part of it.
Indeed. You know what? You just mentioned somebody that I don't think get enough. Like you said, he don't get enough credit because to me, he helped mold 2 of the better players in the league in the last 25 years, and that's Baron Davis and LeBron James. I'm talking about Paul Silas. Talk to me about Paul Silas.
Tough coach. Know the game. Tough rebounder. I used to watch him growing up. And just a stand-up guy, man. But he going to tell you how you feel. I know I used to get into it sometimes. He'd look at me and say, I'll kick your ass. I used to say, come on, coach. Come on, Coach Paul, man. You really would? He said, some of the shit you do, yeah, I would kick your ass.
Oh, wow.
But great guy. Always able to talk to him. When I was with New York. Didn't talk to him too much until he got the head coaching job in Charlotte. And we were kind of talking back and forth a little bit. I just told him I was done with basketball at that time.
Okay. After you left, you went from, if I'm not mistaken, you went from Boston. Then you went overseas for a minute, and then you came back and played with the Nets.
Right.
I was playing in Greece, if I'm not mistaken. Greece.
I enjoyed it. I went there because the NBA, now when you buy your contract out, you're able to get another contract. In the 90s, this is what I'm saying about that old regime. I bought my contract out, so now they're telling me I can't have another contract because I got paid $1.6 million on that buyout. And they tell me I couldn't get another contract. I'd had to play for the minimum. So I went to Greece.
Did you talk to your man Cliff with that? Because I know he went over to Greece for a little while too.
Yeah, I think Cliff played for Pop.
Okay.
But no, we never talked to him about that. I enjoyed my time there. Hey, the Greek people were nice. I had a great time. I just know that one time President Clinton was talking about the Greeks. It was the Greeks and the Turks that was getting into it. And it was an island, but it was on Greek territory. And the Turkish put a flag on it. And President Clinton said he was acting like babies over a little flag, which it was a rock It was an island with just rocks on it, basically, and just birds. Nobody lived there. And they wouldn't let me go outside. We was in Athens. I had to go with security. I'm like, because they actually threw some, whatever they call them what they call them, when they put in some kerosene or oil or gas.
Molotov cocktail.
Yeah, and throw it, and then they bombed the damn embassy over there a little bit. And they told me I couldn't go outside. But other than that, man, I had a great time in Athens. And when we would go visit, I was in Saloniki, Thessalonica, Greece. And I had a great time, man. I enjoyed myself. They wanted me to go back over there. Cliff called me, and I was like, Cliff, man, they need to send me a check they owe me, and then I'll come. That's why I hadn't been back there, because they owe me some money.
Hey, I'm with you. Hey, no dough, no me.
Yeah.
Okay, you play, you come back, play with the Nets, and then you retire. You kind of faded out. Let me ask you this, man. Like, the NBA, it seems as if, like you see, we were talking earlier, once you, I don't want to say it like, you know what I'm saying? Once you ain't useful to them anymore, they pay no attention to you. And we were talking about Johnny Newman, we talked about Paul Presley, we was talking about Terry, we talking about Mar, we talking about Marcus Johnson, Bernard King. It seems like one thing about the NFL, they march their old guys out there and make sure people see them, and they keep the tradition going. What's up with the NBA in that, man? I mean, it seems like you guys should be celebrated more, especially like, and I'm not saying this because you're on the show.
Yeah.
You were a marquee guy. Like my man Alfred just put in there. He a big time Knicks fan. X was a beast.
Yeah.
We remember you, and the younger guys like my man CJ in there. He probably don't even know you, but he should. Why is it that the NBA does such a piss poor job at the older guys?
I don't know. I just know that if I was in Seattle and they still had a team, I want to go to the game. They'll recognize me at the game, and give me a courtside seat and stuff. I don't know. I just know that even when I want to do things with the NBA, as far as going overseas and doing some abroad stuff with some camps and things, it's just hard. Wow. But if you certain guys, they're able to, they call them. But I've been trying to get them to do it for the last several years. But it's what it is. I don't know. I can't really answer it.
Yeah, that's horrible, man. I mean, because this guy's like you wasn't 40-inch vertical, man. You were a basketball player, and I think
I had a 42-inch vertical coming out now.
Oh, my fault.
They measured me at a 42-inch vertical. It's just that when I got later in my career, it was a 22.
Well, see, you played back. To me, you didn't rely on your athleticism. You were a basketball player. And not to saying that I'm not saying that Dominique and Mike and Vince Carter not, but you relied on intellect to do your thing. And I think if you would fit, like you said, if you could play at any, if you were in the league for an extended period of time, you could play in any era.
Right.
Like I said, you were to me what Draymond Green is. You just scored way more.
Right.
You could fit into any situation. It seems like they will highlight players like you to encourage. Like you got the whole world in love with Steph Curry right now.
Right.
Oh, he don't have to jump over anybody. He just playing basketball. It seems like they would be grabbing guys like you, Paul Presley, Bernard King, Marcus Johnson, because y'all were just good old fashioned Alex English. I got this little group for my show, and I highlight. Ironically, you brought up Alex English. I highlighted Alex English recently, and there's so many guys that I remember, like Reggie Theus. These guys, like CJ, again, I keep mentioning CJ because he's 25 years old. He probably don't even know who Alex English is.
Right.
Bernard King. When I mention Bernard King to these guys, they like, who? And I'm like, dude, this dude.
Well, that tell you they know basketball, but they don't know the history of basketball.
Right.
Where me, growing up, I know who Oscar Robertson was. I knew who Bill Russell was. I knew who Elvin Hayes was, or Bobby Dandridge,
Right.
Or Mike Dunleavy, outside of coaching.
Right. Calvin Murphy.
Calvin Murphy.
Andrew Toney.
Yeah, quick Andrew Toney at that. So not just knowing basketball, but knowing the history of basketball and going back and what's his name? Big Zelmo Beatty. He used to live in I see him all the time. It's just so many guys, or Lenny Wilkins. I already know who these guys are before I got to the NBA because I like to do a lot of research, especially when you got a 2-hour part and you got time. Only thing you want to do is watch basketball. That's what all I did, watch basketball. So it's not like I know basketball. I just know the history of basketball too.
Exactly. And you know what? It annoys me to no end. Like my homeboy Patrick, another dude I've been knowing 50 years almost, and I'm 52. And his sons, he got 3 boys, and they try to talk to me, because I used to be a sports nerd.
Uh-huh.
And they try to talk to me about the game, and I mention one of these old dudes, and they like, who is that? I'm like, dude, you got a computer in your hand 24 hours a day. You want to run these numbers at me? Run some old players at me, man.
Right.
Talk to me about the game, and then you can talk to me about the game. Because, yeah, I love Michael Jordan. We love Michael Jordan. We love Charles Barkley and these guys, but it was guys back there that was dominating.
Right.
You don't know who Calvin Murphy is. You think, like you said, you think Mike Dunleavy is a coach.
Right.
You think Paul Silas is a dude that just coached LeBron James and these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't. That's what it baffles me. How do you know all these numbers from from the day LeBron got drafted up until today, but you don't know who was playing the day before? You think Stephon Marbury only played in Asia?
Right.
It's crazy, man.
Well, because they don't know the history, and sometimes, and they're young. But me we didn't have internet. We had this thing called Street and Smith. And I used to go to our local Piggly Wiggly here, and I used to sit in there and read the whole entire book.
I used to do it at Walgreens here in Chicago.
Yeah. Or in Sports Illustrated, and that's where I would get most of my information. Now, it's at our fingertips. You can say, hey, Siri, whatever you want to say in order to get the information you want. You ain't even got to type it in. You can just ask Siri. Me and my boy Artie Sherrod was talking about our season from 1981-82. And I was like, he was like, no, X. That joker got on the phone and said, hey, Siri. And pull it up because he was on his home phone. Pull it up. Oh, no. We lost to Brad at one time. I thought we lost twice to him. We lost 6 games that year. Pull it up easily. I mean, you just got to just know the history, and a lot of young people don't know history.
Yes. And you know what? I do on Tuesdays, I do a show about community enhancement.
Huh?
I say on Tuesday, I do a show on community enhancement. I tell people, and I was like, they don't want these young people to look in the sports history, because then if you look at other history, you'll see how great you can be. You'll see the things that other people have done, and then you'll realize I can do that too. So I mean, that's part of the reason they don't bring you guys back, because they stop. If they get to showing Xman and Jordan face and wasn't intimidated by Jordan and wasn't intimidated by Barkley and wasn't intimidated by Larry Johnson and wasn't like, who is this guy? And then they get to looking at other people, then they'll continue to going back and then they empower themselves.
Well, one thing I like is that's from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, where we all had the coolest nicknames.
Hey, I ain't gonna argue with you.
You got Air Jordan, you got the Xman, you got the Iceman, you got the Chairman on the board, you got the Chief. I mean, we just had so many cool nicknames. Today kids don't have nicknames
at all.
They don't say it. They just say the Xman.
Xman, you know who you're talking.
Yeah. So
Oak Tree.
I mean, but Oak. I mean, it's just totally different. I mean, I don't fault these kids because They like who they like. You know, you watch my son, he'd be like, Dad, you see LeBron? I said, yeah, I watched a little bit of it last night, you know. But that's just the way it is, you know. You got to really be, I personally think that you don't have to know it, but if you want to be a basketball player, you want to be a great, I think you should know who's before you.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's just me. And I just knew, you know, didn't know where the hell Seattle, Washington was at when they was playing the Washington Bullets. I thought they were both in the same daggone state.
Right.
And D.C. ain't even a state. So I just know I see Washington, D.C. and Seattle, Washington. I thought they was the same state. Had to look that up on the map. But
it's funny that you say that because
you know,
I remember being younger. I'm thinking the Redskins was in the state of Washington.
Yeah. So you looking at, you know, and I go back and I'm thinking about guys like John Johnson and Freddie Brown and
Downtown.
You know, with Wes Unseld and Bobby Dandridge and Greg Ballard. That's the name, Greg Ballard.
Yeah.
Greg Ballard. That name I was trying to get. Greg Ballard. See, I wasn't thinking about it, so it came right to me.
Yeah.
Kevin Hayes. I mean, Phil Chenier, who could shoot the lights out of it. I mean, it's just knowing it, going back and just knowing who won it. Sometimes I have to go back and look stuff up because we start talking about who won this championship, what year going back and stuff. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I always tell people about the NBA, and I've always had a problem because when I got there, outside the 70s, who won the championships?
Celtics and the Lakers.
Celtics and the Lakers in the 80s. Then let's get to the late 90s. Who won it outside of Philadelphia is the only team that won one outside of the 90s until Detroit won one.
Yeah.
Then it became the Bulls until Michael retired.
Then the Spurs.
The King, and then the Spurs. Then the Spurs, and then it's been, you know,
Lakers
Miami,
again.
some other few teams in there. But outside of Cleveland winning that last one, small markets don't win. Yeah. How do you make small markets fair? I just think that wherever the superstar is at, because if you in the NFL, you can be a Hall of Famer without winning a championship.
Yes.
You can be a Hall of Famer in the Major League Baseball without winning a championship.
Yeah.
And then you got a select few like Charles Barkley,
Karl Malone,
John Stockton, to not win it and be a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the difference with the other sports. The NBA has to solidify you with being a NBA champion or like a Dominique Wilkins.
Mm-hmm. Because yeah. And that's something that definitely bothers me about the National Basketball Association, because a championship is a team effort. Right. And my greatness has nothing to do with me winning a championship. Like you said, Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr., we can go on and on and on, right. And we can name a million football players that never won anything, but your greatness is only measured by how many rings you got. I'm great because I have this ring. No, that means you had some great teammates. That means you ain't trade Xman, Mark Jackson, and Gerald Wilkins. That's what that means.
Now, you take Gale Sayers, who played 4 years in the NFL, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
What they say? Oh, he would have been a Hall of Famer if he didn't hurt his knee. Well, let's just take me. I probably could have been a Hall of Famer if I didn't hurt my knee.
Again, no disrespect to Ralph Sampson, because I used to love watching Ralph.
Oh, yeah, me too.
If Ralph Sampson is in the Hall of Fame, Xavier McDaniel, Mark Aguirre need to be in the Hall of Fame. Right. Terry Thompson need to be in the Hall of Fame. Period.
I may have to go up there to Springfield, Massachusetts, like they jumped the at the State House in D.C.
Oh yeah. A Hall of Fame insurrection. Get me in. Yeah, man, because I totally agree. Because when you start talking about accomplishments and things of that nature, impact on the game, Come on, man. I'm the first dude. Anytime you are the first dude to set precedents, you set precedents. I led the league in rebounding. I led the league in scoring. And then somebody else did it. I think it was one of your teammates did it. Thomas.
Kurt Thomas.
Kurt Thomas. Yeah.
He
Kurt
was
Thomas
third.
did it.
He was the third. Hank Gathers was the second.
Okay. Yeah, so if it's only 3 people that done something that outstanding,
and all 3 Hall of Fame.
Right. And then I come in Seattle, and not only do we kill, it take one of the greatest teams ever assembled to take us out.
Right.
Every time, just like I said this about Chris Webber before they let him in. Every time I show up, every time Webber show up, the team wins. Right. Every time Xman show up, the team wins. You know, he killing in Seattle. He almost choke out Jordan. He go to Boston, bring them. And I'm not saying this because you're on the team. I'm on the show. I'm just saying it because I'm a fan. I was a gigantic Xman fan.
Well, maybe somebody who see this, they may Hall of Fame people see this because they know how I feel because they brought me up there. I can't remember, but I know it's been maybe about 10, 12 years ago now. And somebody asked me that. And I told them I think I am.
Yeah, most definitely. Definitely. Because look, man, just look at your career. You walk in the door, you got Leviston, you got Big Dog Killer, and then you make your presence felt immediately.
Right.
You get to Seattle, you got Tom, you got Sigma there, and then you got your crew, and you still standing out. You go to New York, and I believe you were the missing link. Like you said, they don't call these. I mean, like Isaiah said, Mike was taking over the league, and they didn't want nobody else to shine. So he got some calls, but that's superstar calls. That's part of the game. We understand how it works. So, but again, I just look at things differently. When you look at it took Bernard King 10 years to get in the Hall of Fame. Stop it, man.
Right.
Bernard King is the NBA Dale says then. But if he win the ring, he the man.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm the man because I got game.
Yeah. But like I said, if you don't win a championship, you got to have some astronomical numbers and not be hurt. Dominic had some great numbers. Charles Barkley had some great numbers. Karl Malone, John Stockton. You know, I don't know too many people after that made it. That didn't win it.
Me either, man. And then I keep seeing people. X was that dude, never giving his just due. Just hoop. He was a hoop thug, Hall of Fame snub. yeah, man. It's just it's crazy, man. It's insane, and it bothers me. And I mean, I'm not gonna be in the Hall of Fame, and I don't have no dog in that fight. I'm like you. I was raised playing ball. I played baseball. I played football. I played basketball. I wasn't that good at basketball. I just had bounce. But it was just, that's what we did. We watched y'all, sat in front of that TV, watched y'all arguments during the game. And then when the game was over, well, let's go outside. You like Xman that much? Let me see if you got some game like him. It was that. It was, that's what we did. I'm going to meet you on the court. It wasn't no, hey, I'm going to text you and we're going to argue on Twitter. None of that. Can you play?
Right.
And that was it. And that's why when I see stuff like Xman not getting in, Chris Webber getting held back. And like you said, if you don't win the ring.
Well, Chris in the Hall of Fame now, though, right?
Yeah, he just got in last year. And no disrespect. Oh, you know what? Who else got in without winning the championship? Tracy McGrady.
Tracy McGrady, that's right.
Yep. But it shouldn't take a championship to validate me because,
you're correct.
Like you said, you got these cheap owners put money in both pockets, and then when instead of putting $50,000 in both pockets, I had to put $49.99. Well, you got to go because I need that new boat.
Right,
you got to go. So yeah, man. Let's talk about.
As we touch on, man, we was talking about players, but I want to two other players, man. They both passed. Cliff Robinson from Portland,
salute,
and Jerome Kersey.
Yes.
Jerome Kersey, man. That boy, he didn't do a lot of scoring, but God dog, he was physical.
Yeah. And you know what? And that's another that's another thing I don't like about ESPN. That's, believe it or not, I didn't like the name of the show is The End of the Bench, because when we used to play ball, you know it. You sitting on the bench and y'all talking about everything under the sun.
Right.
And that's why the name of the show is The End of the Bench. And that's why I was like, I can't stand just this crazy raggedy narrative that's being pushed out there about these ball players. Right. This guy was this and this guy was that. Because if you let ESPN tell it, Jerome Kersey wasn't that good, you wasn't that good, anybody who wasn't flying through the air dunking on everybody wasn't that good. Like I was listening to, like, I'm part of a little podcast network. It's a group of brothers that do their own thing, and we all come together to support each other, right? And they were doing favorite players, best players ever. And somebody mentioned Dominique Wilkins, and most of the people who was listening was like, he wasn't that good. I'm like, did you start watching basketball yesterday?
Yeah.
Because there's no way you could ever see Dominique Wilkins play and say, well, he wasn't that good. Right. Compared to who? You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you want to compare him to Michael Jordan, you know what? You can't compare him to nobody and say he wasn't that good. Because I'm still mad that he wasn't one of the 50 greatest.
Right. He should have definitely been there. He should have been there.
Yeah, because, I mean, hey, it ain't about disrespect. There's no way in hell.
I just think playing,
Bill Walsh supposed to be one of the 50 greatest.
Still playing, that you shouldn't even be on that list because you're still playing.
Yes.
It should be for retired players only.
Yes.
Yes. Be on it later on. I mean, I don't remember Alex English being on there.
He not.
And he was the 8th leading scorer in NBA history when he retired.
Bob McAdoo wasn't on it.
Oh, there you go. So I'm just saying, it's a lot of players, and to me, it's just hard to come. I think you do that by decades.
Yes. I
think you do it by decades because it's just so hard, because every decade is different. You know, in the 50s, a lot of people weren't jumping. Then people wouldn't start jumping until Elgin Baylor, Connie Hawkins. You know, so I think you do it by the decades.
Yes, I agree. And then, you know what though? I'm a nerd when it comes to this type of stuff, man. People Elgin Baylor's name is not mentioned enough in NBA history, because every time I'm watching the playoffs, they go, "Oh, he scored this much." Nobody did that since Elgin Baylor.
Right.
And people don't even recognize who he is. And I saw some highlights today, and I watched it like 5 times. Elgin Baylor was Euro stepping in the 60s, man.
Yeah. Well, that's that thing we talked about earlier, where now they're talking about, oh, he's 20 years old, you know, and I love Jason Tatum, but he's so young, so you make a narrative for him. But you got guys who came in the league at 21. Well, back then when they played in the 50s and 60s and 70s, they were 22 years old.
Yeah. You're
talking about guys that were doing a lot of things. There's a lot of things being done. You just got to get tape and go back and look. But, I mean, the narrative has got to be where they're making it seem like, well, he's a first 20-year-old to have this, and this. Luka, well, with that many people, like I said. And that's the thing that I think people don't quite understand. That's the narrative that they give off, is that this guy's doing this and nobody's done it. Well, it hadn't even been that many people.
Exactly. It's kind of like with the three-point shot. The three-point shot was 10 years old by the time Jordan took over the league. So you're talking about 25 years. Yeah, of course he hit more threes than anybody else. You got 60 years when nobody's shooting them.
Right. I mean, you're talking about, I think Dale Ellis had the record at 9.
Yeah.
So this three-point came in 78 or 79, I think.
Came in with Magic and Bird.
Yeah, and I think Mike Dunleavy hit the first three-pointer, I think. I'm not sure, but I think he did. And so you're talking about 79. So, yeah, a lot of people going to beat a lot of, because it actually 79 don't seem like when you're talking about the league being 75 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about in the 90s, it's only been out 11 years.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's going to be a lot of people going to pass it because of the way the game is played now. Everybody is okay to shoot it because the analytics got it where they're talking about, well, if you take 10 shots and make 5, and there's 2 pointers, well, you made 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
But if you make 3 out of 10, it's 9. You ain't down but 1. Numbers don't lie, but numbers don't tell the truth.
Yeah.
Because people still shooting the 3 when they should be shooting 2 sometimes. You know? So I think the analytics got it messed up. I'm not saying because you hit less shots than me, but you make more threes, you're all going to win the game.
Yeah. And you know what? I got this guy. He paid me for this ad. I'm going to run it, and then I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, one second.
It's official. Style Guys is trending for the holiday season. Located 1252 Burnham Ave in Calumet City. Being black owned and operated with new items weekly, in store, and even online. And with over 50,000 followers online, you can't miss out. Sales going on till 2022. Like jogging suits, hoodies, t-shirts, Jordan Craig, smoke rise, crisp, sweaters, and so much more. So beat the lines and order online from Style Guys, 1252 Burnham Ave in Calumet City. Contact them today at 708-801-9481. Again, 708-801-9481. Or check them out from Tuesday to Saturday from noon to 7 p.m. or Sundays from noon to 5 p.m. Style Guys, 1252 Burnham Ave in Calumet City. Life, fashion, style. Follow some of the newest styles by Style Guys in Calumet City. Lock in The Style Guys on IG or look them up, thestyleguys.com. Gone wild!
All right, we back. And since the end of the bench, I got my man Xavier McDaniel. We talking basketball, big time. Thank you for being on the show again. Let's do it. Yeah, but like you said, man, I'm not a big dude into the analytics either. Because I keep saying, yeah, if you shoot 10 threes and hit 4 of them, but if I hit 8 twos, we beating y'all to death.
Right. You got to guard against it, but I just think that people who are capable of shooting it should shoot it. I'm okay with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson shooting it. You know, I think me and Draymond Green had a 3-point shooting contest. We may not never finish the horse game because we may not never make them because I knew I wasn't that good at it and I didn't practice that.
Right.
But I think that people who can shoot it should shoot it. But I don't think your centers should be shooting it. They basically have taken the big guy out of the game.
Yes.
You know? I mean, basically that's what is happening. But, I mean, I'm on the break, Curry on the break, and I got an easy dunk. Man, I see Golden State stopping. Just unbelievable. But
it is.
That's why, let's go back to when Houston and them played. The Rockets lost to them because you live by the 3, you die by the 3.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were making 2s when they were shooting 3s, they would have won that series.
Game over.
No one's going to ever beat the Warriors just shooting 3s. You got to have a combination of that in order to beat them. And if you hitting it, that's something different. What do Klay Thompson do? 3-pointers. What do Curry do? 3-point. I watched Dale's son and the Chick-fil-A. We got this big tournament here called the Chick-fil-A in Columbia, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking with Dale, and I said, man, who the hell recruiting your son? This motherfucker can shoot. And he was like, nobody. And I looked up, and he was going to Davidson. And I looked up, and I was like, this kid is killing. And he was little. And he did not fit the mold of a basketball player, big, long, but he could shoot. And he stormed the NBA and the college world with his shooting. And I watched this kid, man. And I was like, wow. I said, damn, the boy can shoot, man. And I'm glad to see him doing what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's why I tell recruiters, don't look at a kid. Look where you think he can go. See, well, sometimes we always want that kid that can do it all. But sometimes it's got to be that kid. You got to look and see his potential past.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I look and say, hey, I see his future. I think he can do this. But, man, the boy, he can shoot, man. and then you add a Jordan Poole with it. See, I think he should come down on his threes a little. He can shoot it. But I think if he take 2 or 3 less and he handles the ball so well, I think he can get to the hole and get some points. I mean, I think he's averaging 20-something a game this year. But it's hard to beat the Warriors just shooting threes, man.
Yeah. It's like trying to beat the Knicks or the Pistons being physical.
Right.
You're not gonna beat me at what I do. And man, people been looking at me since that the Warriors took over the league. I'm like, I don't think they'll win in the 90s. And
Right.
I was like, why? I said, because they moved the ball. I said, the reason you couldn't beat them teams in the 90s with just shooting, because you had to use your legs in the 90s. And by the fourth quarter, your legs popped.
Shoot. Some third, man. I'd be like, shit, let me get some ice.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
you make them move their feet.
Yeah.
It ain't no 3-point shooting in.
There's a lot more jump shooting and a lot less physical play now.
Yeah.
And one reason you get some freak accident, but that's why these guys are able to play a long time. Look, Camilo Anthony, 17 years.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, these guys are playing LeBron 20. These guys are playing longer now.
Yeah.
Their body's a lot better. You know, and I think every year, you know, when I first got to the NBA, a lot of guys were smoking cigarettes.
Yeah. I've heard that.
Locker room, halftime, them up pulling out a beer. I mean, walking to my guys, we wait till after the game. So time changed for everybody.
Yeah.
You know? So I know for me, I had a Burger King contract. Shit, every morning, I had Burger King in the morning. These guys got chefs now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these guys, hell, some ain't even driving themselves to work. You know? So it's
look at LeBron. He invested $1 million a year in his body.
Yeah. Well, shit, that took my whole check. I'd have had to owe the government some money. I'd owe them some money, man. Yeah. But that's what you're supposed to do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what getting better at. From look at the shoes that even when I was 13, 14 wearing canvas Converses, the pros were wearing canvas Converses.
Mm-hmm.
Our pro kids. So things are supposed to get better.
Yeah.
Longevity, you know?
Mm-hmm. 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 Hey, you ever thought about coaching, bro?
No. I mean, I killed someone. To be very, I AAU.
Okay.
I was trying to think of y'all AAU team up there. I can't think of the name right now.
I know one of them is the Demons, the Wolf Pack.
No, he do girls.
Oh, well, I don't know him. Nick Irvin.
Mac
I know
Irvin.
Nick Irvin.
Go Mac Irvin now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Mac Irvin now, and do girls and boys. And
No, I didn't know he did girls. Yeah.
no, boys. I mean, I'm sorry, boys, because my son played against in the same tournament. We be seeing them in different tournaments in the South.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mac Irvin, now my college coach and him are real good friends too. I think he's Coach Smith. But yeah, I just for me, you know, you just got to. Damn, I just lost my thought. I know
You're talking about AAU and Mac Irvin and that.
But I did a little bit of that. And how long I did AAU? My daughter was maybe 10. And when she went to North Carolina, I kind of stopped. So I think I did it for 8-9 years.
Okay.
76ers. And I helped a friend of mine, Andre Bovain, in the PBL, Pro Basketball League.
Okay.
I helped him, but I'm just not into coaching, man. I understand the game a lot. You know, maybe doing high school. My high school coach always told me I should do it. But, man, you got to put up with a lot of stuff, man. And I told my high school coach, I know I gave you hell, man. I'm sorry. So it's just, I just feel like I understand the game and I know the game. You know, like even when my daughter was playing ball, I would just be telling her things to do even when she was in college, I had this little whistle. And she could hear it, it'd be loud as hell in Carmichael Arena. And she'll look up, and I was like, up and under. That's what I love doing more than anything. But coaching, no, man, I stay away from that.
He said you been killed somebody.
You see me chewing on pizza, Andy. I've been a coach. I've been had a heart attack by now. I have a heart attack by now, man. So
no, man, we don't want none of that. We don't want none of that.
And then I'm 59, man. I'm just content, man. I love my life. And I'm like I said, I'm just enjoying life right now, man.
All right, that's what's up. Okay, talk to me. We've been on almost 2.5 hours. Talk to me about what's been happening through the league, and hopefully I can get you back on the end of the bench.
Okay, anytime. You got my number. I ain't going to change. I had the same number since 96, 97, 98.
Okay. My man.
I won't do that all that changing number, man.
I love it. So what you been doing since basketball ended?
Well, renting houses, I had a little car hauling business, janitorial business. I'm out of all of them now. Right now, basically doing nothing. Get ready to head up to St. Louis. And my wife got a job up there, Harris Stowe State University.
Okay.
We're going to leave the crib here. You can see the crib right there. I'm in the office right here.
Okay.
So we're going to leave. And I'll just be coming back and forth, man, supporting her to try to hope that she can get her team to probably play a little bit better.
Okay. One of my buddies said, what kind of pizza you eating?
oh, this is Marco pizza. This is pepperoni and Italian sausage.
Okay. Man, I want to thank you, man. It has been more than a pleasure rapping with you. I will be in contact. You know what? I'm going to end the show, and I want you to hold on, and then I'm going to end the show, and then I'll be right with you.
Okay.
All right. And I want to thank you. 1 second. Put you in the back. One second. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is the End of the Bench, rapping with HRap. It has been a pleasure. I will be uploading this to the network soon, not tonight, because I don't feel like being here another hour. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button, tell a friend to continue to tune in. This is HRap, 2 fingers, 1 word. I'm out.
4-letter words or 4-syllable words won't make you a poet. It will only magnify how shallow you are and let everybody know it. And if they look at you like they think you're insane, or they call you scarecrow thinking you ain't got no brain, or start telling folks that you suddenly gone lame, or that the white folks have finally co-opted your game, or you really don't know, they said that about me a long time ago. If they finally start telling people that you lost your nerve, that's what they said about Johannesburg. You ain't insane. You have got a brain. You haven't gone lame. You have got your game. Remember, keep the nerve, keep the nerve, keep the nerve, keep the nerve. We're talking about peace.
We are built for this network, for the strong, not the weak.